What if I told you that one of the most valuable and influential companies on Earth started with a single circuit board, a garage, and three guys who like to tinker? That's right. Today we're diving deep into the incredible story of Apple, a company that went from the brink of failure to shaping the way billions of people live, work, and connect. Stick with me until the end, because Apple's journey is packed with surprising twists, fun facts, and jaw-dropping figures that will make you see this tech giant in a whole new light. The story begins in 1976 in Los Altos, California, inside a modest suburban garage. Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne founded Apple Computer with a vision that was more dream than reality at the time. Wozniak was the technical wizard, Jobs the visionary marketer, and Wayne briefly provided structure and paperwork. Together they built the Apple I, a single-board computer sold mainly to hobbyists. Here's a quirky fact. The Apple I was priced at $666.66, partly because Wozniak liked repeating digits. Only about 200 units were ever produced, but it was enough to kickstart the legend. Not long after, Ronald Wayne sold his 10% stake in the company for just $800. If he had held onto it, that share would be worth hundreds of billions today, making it one of the costliest missed opportunities in business history. But with or without Wayne, Jobs and Wozniak pushed forward, and in 1980 Apple went public. Their initial public offering was priced at $22 a share, instantly creating hundreds of millionaires in Silicon Valley and cementing Apple as a rising force in the tech world. In 1984, Apple introduced the Macintosh with a now iconic Super Bowl commercial directed by Ridley Scott. The ad positioned Apple as a rebel against conformity, a creative alternative to the gray, corporate machines that dominated computing at the time. The Macintosh itself, with its graphical user interface and mouse, was revolutionary. It made computing more human, more visual, and more accessible, paving the way for how we interact with computers today. But the road ahead was far from smooth. By the late 1980s and early 1990s, Apple was struggling. Microsoft and its Windows operating system were dominating the personal computer market, and Apple's products, while innovative, weren't selling enough to keep the company afloat. Internal conflicts, failed products, and declining market share led Apple dangerously close to bankruptcy. To many outsiders, it seemed like Apple's story was coming to an end. And then came the twist. In 1997, Steve Jobs returned to the company he had been ousted from over a decade earlier. His comeback marked the beginning of one of the greatest turnarounds in corporate history. One of his first moves was to simplify Apple's messy product lineup and focus on innovation and design. In 1998, Apple released the iMac G3, a colorful, translucent computer that wasn't just functional, it was fun and stylish. Consumers loved it. The iMac helped restore Apple's reputation and showed the world that the company was back in the game. But Jobs wasn't satisfied with simply surviving. He wanted Apple to reinvent industries. In 2001, Apple introduced the iPod, accompanied by the slogan, 1,000 songs in your pocket. For the first time, people could carry their entire music library with them anywhere they went. The iPod wasn't just a gadget. It changed how people consumed music and helped rescue the struggling music industry through the iTunes Store. By making digital music easy and legal to buy, Apple created a new ecosystem that reshaped entertainment forever. And then came 2007, on stage at Macworld. Steve Jobs introduced a device that combined a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator. It was called the iPhone, and it changed everything. With its sleek design, touchscreen interface, and the introduction of the App Store a year later, the iPhone didn't just dominate the smartphone industry, it created it. Within a decade, billions of people were using iPhones or similar devices inspired by Apple's innovation. The iPhone became more than a product. It became a cultural icon. Following the iPhone, Apple launched the iPad in 2010, a device that redefined portable computing. The Apple Watch brought wearable technology into the mainstream, while AirPods transformed the way we listen to music on the go. Meanwhile, Apple expanded into services like Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, and iCloud, creating recurring revenue streams that ensured the company wasn't just dependent on hardware sales. This ecosystem of devices and services locked users in, making Apple products not just tools, but part of daily life. Today, under CEO Tim Cook, Apple has grown into a financial titan. In 2018, Apple became the first U.S. company to hit a market capitalization of $1 trillion. By 2022, it had surpassed $3 trillion, making it the most valuable company in the world at that time. To put that in perspective, Apple's valuation is larger than the GDP of most countries. Its brand alone is estimated to be worth over $400 billion, consistently topping global brand rankings. But beyond numbers, Apple has influenced culture in ways few companies ever could. Think about it. White earbuds became a status symbol. The phrase "there's an app for that" entered everyday language. Apple stores, with their minimalist glass designs, became tourist attractions. Even the packaging of Apple products, with its clean lines and precise engineering, reflects the company's obsession with detail. Apple has turned technology into a lifestyle, merging design, function, and identity into something people around the world aspire to own. Of course, the journey isn't without controversy. Apple has faced criticism for its closed ecosystem, reliance on overseas manufacturing, and pricing strategies. Yet, despite these challenges, its loyal customer base remains incredibly strong. Year after year, millions line up, sometimes literally, to get their hands on the latest iPhone. It's not just about the device. It's about being part of the Apple experience. Here are some fun facts to leave you with. The very first Apple logo wasn't the iconic bitten apple we know today, but an intricate drawing of Isaac Newton sitting under an apple tree with a ribbon saying, "Apple Computer Co." Despite its size, Apple started with just a few $1,000s raised by Jobs selling his Volkswagen van and Wozniak selling his calculator. Steve Wozniak once said he added the repeating sixes in the Apple I price tag simply because it looked neater. The name Apple was chosen because Jobs thought it sounded fun, spirited, and not intimidating. It also put the company ahead of Atari in the phone book, which was Jobs' former employer. And remember Ronald Wayne, the forgotten co-founder? His original Apple contract is now a collector's item worth hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. When the App Store launched in 2008, it started with just 500 apps. Today, there are more than 2 million. Apple Park, the company's spaceship headquarters in Cupertino, cost over $5 billion to build and includes one of the largest solar roofs in the world. Apple Siri, introduced in 2011, was one of the first widely used AI assistants, and its name comes from a Norwegian word meaning beautiful woman who leads you to victory. From a garage in California to a $3 trillion empire, Apple's story is one of vision, resilience, and the power of thinking differently. The company has gone from selling hobbyist circuit boards to creating products that billions can live without. Whether you love Apple or think it's overrated, one thing is undeniable: its impact on technology, culture, and business is unmatched. So, what do you think? Which great company should we cover next? Drop your suggestion in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the next big story. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.